I need to learn how to do a lot of things, including how to make $1 million.
You need to learn how to do this. I haven't
yet gained that knowledge.
You need to learn how to do this. Guys, he doesn't know how to switch the live button on. If I'm not sitting here, he can't hear himself
hold on a minute. So now you have that big gap, Yeah, what's wrong with that? You have that big gap over there, showing your head. Walk on, beautiful people. Nobody is there, but Bluebird is saying, hello, I am here, but yet you're saying there's nobody there. Bluebirds, are you sitting in the weeds? What's going on, guys? Sitting here, just chilling, maxing and relaxing on a Sunday afternoon. Another episode of Informa Window. Gonna big up on ourselves. Everybody, everywhere. Everybody, everywhere. Every kiss me run tapant.
Calm down.
What's wrong with you? What do you mean calm down? Why should I calm down?
Guys, he doesn't even know how to press the button to go live.
Listen, it's not a matter of pressing
Talk about rotary phone.
It's a matter of, I've embraced the title rotary phone, but it's a matter of, I don't want to be pressing buttons and then press the wrong damn button and then guess what? She's still going to yell at me.
We were watching another live. He didn't turn the other live off. What's going on, people?
Why did you have the other live running?
Because I was listening to it.
It's been running now for the last 3 hours. Holy smoke.
Okay, I got to look in my phone. I can see it there. Who do we got?
Enough is enough. Look at that big gap over your shoulder.
So move closer.
I can't. The chairs are only getting
so you can't move the chair?
I can move it up, but it's not going to make a difference. It should be sliding. Listen.
Joe. What's going on? Whoa!
Whoa!
What's going on out there?
You almost ran into that car.
Oh my God, guys!
The Informa window.
Things are going out there. They're drag racing on the street.
Drag race.
He almost crashed. Thank God my car is not parked on the road.
If only the Informa camera was flipped the other way. You guys have been witness to that.
Did you guys hear the wheels squealing?
Crazy. Who is that person?
I don't know. He almost crashed. Look at everybody staring. Is he drunk? Guys, drama go on Informa window.
That was kind of silly.
Man, a drag race on the road.
Not drag racing on the road, drag racing on our street.
Drag racing by himself.
By himself.
Who do we got here?
Against himself, by himself, for himself.
Mighty God.
Mighty God.
Thank God my car's not on the road.
Actually, that's probably how your car got hit.
Yeah, my car did get hit one time, parked in front of the house.
Yeah, we just came out one day and half the front fender was torn off.
Yeah.
The one side facing the street, and we suspect somebody came down the street. Either they hit a patch of ice, slid into the car, but whatever it was, and they're fortunate enough that the camera somehow didn't capture it. You know, that's the one time the camera never worked. I said, "Look, I'm leaning in.
Why can't I get it? Careful.
There we go. Look at that. What's wrong with that? I don't have to lean in.
Go ahead. You can fix it.
Yeah, well, you always seem to adjust the camera. Oh, my God. So what's going on, people? Welcome once again. Another episode of Informa Window on this Sunday afternoon. Welcome all our viewership, all our members. Thank you for joining us.
My phone is not behaving at the moment, but we are Dream Warriors in the house. We have Bluebird in the house.
There's always a problem with your phone.
Don't get on my nerves today, please.
Listen, she will sit here on her phone all day long, listening to other live, and the minute it's time to go on live.
You just interrupted me in the middle of the roll call.
Is that what you're doing?
That's what I was doing.
Well, I just have to make this point, though.
Anyhow, as I was saying, we got Nobius Nightshade here. We got Gary McIntosh here. He says, glad to be here as usual. Martin is here. Martin, you don't cook up your big breakfast this morning with your fried dumpling and your plantain. You managed to wake up in time to come to my live.
Martin, I want to know if those fried dumplings went to private school or they went to public school.
No, Martin, your dumpling look good.
Them look good?
Martin, I laugh after you.
Come on, no. Because I make some fried dumpling the other day and them say them go private school. They're university graduates. Them look so good. So more on no. But then sometime, but hear this now. I got up this morning.
There we go.
The one thing I was in the mood for, I don't know if you guys.
Finish the roll call.
Oh,
let me finish the roll call.
Go on,
thank you.
I don't understand.
Gary's saying he's glad to be here as usual, and everybody's hailing everybody up. Martin is saying happy Sunday to everybody. Of course, Dream Morris introduced us and said, "Ta-da! We're here. We're here." Martin is laughing, and Nobius is saying, "Big up, Martin." Whoops, Lord God, what me do? Oh. Are you guys seeing us now? There we are.
So if you guys notice, I did not say a word throughout that whole...
Because he has no clue how to fix it.
I did not say a word throughout the whole episode because this individual here that refers to me as a rotary phone every chance she gets, okay, just touch something. And this is one of the reasons why I don't touch it. When she sets it up for a live, I leave it alone and wait for her to activate anything that needs to be activated. I purposely don't touch it. So she...
Go ahead.
So she just went and disconnected us.
By mistake.
And all throughout that whole episode, she's having a conversation by herself, to herself.
Because he has nothing to offer.
Speaking.
Okay.
And trying to figure out what took place. I never said a word. Me just put what on my business.
Because you don't know how to fix it. You're a rotary phone. You don't know how to fix it. You have no help to fix it.
You clearly know how to rip it apart because you dismantled it.
I touched it and it disappeared.
And you shouldn't have touched it.
Well, I got it back, didn't I?
After a while.
All right.
And after bantering and having a conversation to yourself, by yourself, and I sat here the whole time and I said nothing.
So we froze.
I said nothing. We froze or you messed it up.
Anyway.
You initiated
the
freezing.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Right. And look here now. I wish you guys could be flipped.
Anyway, I wish why this I walk around on the street. You look like
him. You look like a madman.
You look like him.
We've been seeing a lot of we need to invent some new characters for the Informer window because we've got an awful lot of new
strange characters.
Wow.
Pretty strange characters.
We can call that one madman.
No, really look somebody. You kind of look like man.
Okay, they're all saying that it was refreshed, but everybody's back and everybody's good.
And we welcome every last one of you guys.
Who did we miss? We missed Ginta. Ginta Smith Wright is here.
Yes,
Wagwan Ginta.
Big up to this.
Priscilla Seymour is here. Priscilla saying Wagwan.
Yes.
So you were asking Martin about his dumpling.
Yes, Martin. I was asking you whether or not the fried dumplings that you made, whether or not they went to private school or public school. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if you guys saw my post the other day, but I happened to create some dumpling the other day that somebody referred to as they have attended private school because them look so good. So, I guess I'm referring to that as if you go public school, you're a little rougher on the edges.
Maybe. But as Martin was making those
this morning,
perfect dumplings.
As I wanted to say was this morning I got up and I made some fried dumpling. But here's my kind of fried dumpling. My kind of fried dumpling is it's been boiled a day or two before. It's still in the fridge.
Right.
And I just sliced them up.
He was mentioning that. That's his favorite kind.
Yes, I love that. That's what I had this morning for my breakfast, along with some steamed cabbage that was sitting in the refrigerator. So I love my dumplings like that. I much prefer that over fried dumplings, though.
But I told Martin that I'd never needed dumpling to make fried dumpling in my life. Here's the proof.
You don't even know what the ingredients are that's involved in dumplings.
Martin, I wasn't lying. I wasn't lying.
She has no idea what the process is or the ingredients that are involved.
Now, Dreamweaver says, but in all fairness, you, Nino.
Yes, sir.
Or you did touch it. No, he's saying you, Nino, you're okay, but low touch because I touched it. Yeah, it's always been like that.
I didn't know that.
Because I touched it.
I did touch it. I'm experiencing a little dilemma. And I wonder if you guys can help me out because one of my granddaughter, the smallest one, my understanding is that I have a little spot right by the computer where I sit and I, do all sorts of transaction. I do work.
That's his zone.
That's my little man spot. Some guys have man cave. In my house, I just have a man chair, right?
Where he has to be this close to the screen to read what's on the computer screen.
Because as you can see, I can't read pretty much what's on there because it's too far. It may not appear to you to be far, but for me it is. So anyway, this monitor is in my face. So I am to understand now that when I'm not home, my granddaughter finds her way up to my chair and she sits there like she's me.
Mm-hmm. And puts on the headphones.
Puts on the headphones.
And she turns on the computer. She put on some loud music the other day and started dancing.
So she does all sorts.
Yeah.
So I keep noticing that because I'm working there. Sometimes I have pens, I have markers. I noticed that the monitor has been marked up. Yeah. The keyboard has been marked up.
The couch is marked up with a pen.
And I'm like, what's going on here? Every time I come here, there's another mark. So lo and behold, I decided to go take a nap a little while ago. And as I got into my bed, I looked down and what do I see?
Pen marks on the sheet.
On the sheet. My granddaughter has been on my side of the bed and she's scribbled all over the sheet. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's anywhere.
So what would have happened if you were little and you marked on your parents' sheet? Guys, tell me, what would have happened? Or your grandparents' sheet? What would have happened?
I know what
when you were little, if you marked all over the house.
I know what would have happened to me.
With a pen.
And it's not going to
all over the sheets.
My box side would be Con Pita. If you know what I mean. Con Pita.
Well.
Right? It's not going to be, oh, little Nino, go to the corner. Time out. What kind of timeout? That timeout, that box cross here.
It's not that serious. These things
ain't that serious, but that's just how it was. You don't mark on walls. You don't mark on things, you know?
These things can be clean. Bluebird is saying fried dumpling, yum, yum, yum. Listen, these kids nowadays, you can't touch them. So mind what you gotta do.
But I must say though, when the older of the two grandies were younger, and she marked on the wall, and I gave her a little bucket with a rag, and she had to wash it. Mm-hmm. She had to wash the wall. So why is it this one is getting away with it?
I didn't say she was getting away with it.
Well, she's gotten away with it.
How? We just realize it all.
No, because every day there's a new mark, and I've notified the grandmother. I've notified the grandmother that there's a mark. And you know what
the grandmother said? Her. That's so cute. Oh, wow. Look at she almost made an M like her name.
Yes. The other day I caught her.
Junior said, I would have got licks.
No. With a Con Pita.
We're out of the age of licks. Really? We're not going backwards. We're going forward still.
Well, we're trying to head forward, but we gotta discipline these darn kids.
Yeah. How do you
later on in life when they go out there and they take your car without permission and drag race on your street,
like what just happened, guys.
Like this fella here, then you're gonna say, I wish I didn't teach little Peter how to drive.
Okay, Martin, right? If you're still in the chat, tell me I know you have small children. When they misbehave, what do? I'm sure you don't give them licks. Who still gives their kids licks? Come on, guys, tell me in the chat.
Send them to the corner.
Bluebird is saying, Nobi says definitely just a talking to, and Dreamweaver says licks.
Yes.
Ginta, Priscilla, tell me what you gonna do. You gonna give it licks or just a talking to?
Well, some cases deserves licks. Some cases.
This case doesn't deserve a lick.
It depends on the severity of the case, right?
And it depends on how the behavior was done. Was it done purposely in malice, or it's just a little innocent kid that's
But we have noticed that they're doing a lot of writing and drawing, and we've given them a platform to do it in a very safe and secure manner without having damaged the walls or
stop.
Right? We have given them Bristol boards to write
on. Says just a good talking to.
Just a good.
And Nobis is saying maybe we should ban markers. But that stifles creativity. That stifles the creativity.
A good talking to the first time, Ginta, I do agree with that. But when the behavior continues to repeat itself, then what?
Listen, the punishment has to fit the crime. Yes. She's 2, not even.
Yes.
So she's just exploring. She sees us writing with pens, so she's trying to mimic. It's a mimicking action. She's not even 2, guys.
We're talking about 2, and we're talking about mimicking.
Right.
We have to admit, though, these kids are way more advanced than we were at their age, correct?
True.
Okay, because I heard you this morning saying to your granddaughter, who's not presently here, when she said to you, Grandma, I'm going to share my screen. Granny, I'm going to share my screen with you.
Yep.
And you kind of like went, share your screen with me.
She FaceTimed me, and she was playing a game on her iPad. And she wanted me to see the game. So she said, I'll share my screen with you. Mm-hmm. This child is 3 years old.
Okay.
And she
knows how
to FaceTime. She FaceTimed her uncle in Japan to ask him a question about the planets and the stars. Right? She just picks up the phone and she FaceTimes and she'll say, "Oh, I can't call him right now because he's sleeping." She remembers. So yes, they are more advanced. I have to give them that. Yes.
Okay. So why is it they're not more advanced to know that they shouldn't be writing on the walls?
Well,
how is it we don't give them credit for that, but yet we give them credit for being smart in other ways?
True.
Because into Diamotada.
Now, Dream Warrior says, yeah, you can give them a good talking to, but they would probably forget about 5 minutes later.
They would. But as you talk about seeing the stars and the planet, I watched her the other night, and she ran to the window, and she's lifting the shades, and she's looking out, and she was asked.
She wanted to know something about the stars and the planets.
Yeah, she's looking up because she said, "Uncle said if I look in this direction, I'd see some."
That's
she
right.
actually ran to the window.
That's right. Very smart kid. Now, Nobia says most kids are scared straight, but some feel it's a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. They're more aware, these kids. Yes, they definitely are but I mean, these are the 3-year-old maybe because she's going to be 4 soon. And the younger one is going to be 2 soon. But like I said, punishment has to fit the crime. And it's a different punishment coming from a grandparent, right? Because coming from a grandparent, you're a little bit more lenient, and your objective is not mainly to correct so severely, right? Like you want to correct, but that's the job of the parents to we can correct, but a little bit more gently. It's nicer, right? Do you agree?
Do I agree to what?
That it's a gentle correction as a grandparent.
How did my father correct me?
But that was a parent. That was a direct parent. As a grandparent, you correct. So grandparents
are there to spoil. In other words.
Absolutely.
I hear you now. Okay.
So everybody, tell me, put down in the chat what you did this week, what you did today. As a matter of fact, it's beautiful Toronto weather. It started out a little bit chilly. I woke up at the crack of dawn. Ask me why, because I'm on my night shift game. So why did I wake up before daylight outside? And I went, and of course, I started doing my indoor gardening. I did that for a couple hours.
When are you going to take those things out of the house?
When the weather is consistently warmer. It has to be like nighttime temperatures are far too cold to bring these plants out. And then when you bring them out,
the next day it's going to be frost.
Well, that's why you have to look ahead. When you spend so much time, guys, planting all your flowers, your tomatoes, all that kind of stuff indoors, and they start growing on, you can't bring them out. As a matter of fact, talk to your people. Let me go there.
So what do you do? Question to you. What do you do when the frost does come? Do you pick them up and bring them back inside?
Yeah, or put them in the greenhouse.
So you go out there and collect every one of them and bring them in the green. No. She has a little greenhouse out back that I got to tell you, she doesn't take very, very good care of it. You don't. She has this greenhouse, and she neglects the greenhouse after the growing season is over. And the only time she pays attention to it is when it's near spring. She'll give it some attention, and she'll kind of get it ready. But, you would think she would be like me. And, when I finish with my barbecue in the fall, late summer, fall, I clean my barbecue. I ready my barbecue for the next season. She just neglects her greenhouse.
What are you talking about? The
yes,
greenhouse
you do.
Doesn't need to come inside.
Oh, it doesn't need to come inside, but you need to clean it up and get it ready.
All my stuff is, stay out of gardening business.
Woman, I tell you.
See, this is what I did this morning. I took them out of their little cells, see? And put them in these cups. Look at that little tomato. It's so delicate.
Oh, it is a tomato.
The little tomato is a little shocked right now. She's not doing too well because, she just got transplanted. But give her a day or two and her leaves will perk up a little nicer. But this is a slicer tomato that I planted.
And we still have those heirloom tomatoes?
Yeah. March 17th, I planted this baby. So that's what I was doing. I was upplanting those. And then look at these little ones. These are too small to upplant. Can you see them? So imagine you plant these things from seed, cool. You grow them on.
I can see here.
And then you bring them outside just for the frost to take them? Hell no.
I can see here where she's got some yellow tomatoes.
Yeah.
And what else? Orange tomatoes.
These are orange.
And these are part of the heirloom ones that we had a few years ago, right?
Orange and these are yellow.
So interestingly
enough,
and
I planted less this year because we usually have way too many tomatoes.
Interestingly enough, we had our friend Linda a few years ago went through with us how we can
get
some seeds and save them for the next season, and start the grow process in early spring. So this is where we came along with all these heirloom tomatoes of different varieties.
All these what?
Heirloom.
All the what? Say it again.
Heirloom.
Gary, are you here? Are you hearing the schwa?
Heirloom.
Heirloom tomatoes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. Heirloom.
Thank you.
So
you're in the mode to correct me with Gary supporting you again?
That's right.
With the schwa.
That's right.
Schwa, and you're not talking about Oshawa?
Listen, Bluebird is saying maybe you should give them a chalkboard and an area for them to draw in. That was a plan to get an easel, but they didn't have the easel that we wanted.
Yeah,
we wanted to give it to them for Christmas.
We didn't get an easel, but we did get Bristol boards.
Yeah, but I think now's a chance to get. As soon as I'm finished, the room that I have all my planting stuff
that's their playroom.
Is really their playroom, and I've kind of taken it over with my plants. So as soon as I get my plants over there, they can get their room back.
Though, the girls have been really good.
They've been really good, and they haven't touched my plants. Yeah. So we
can. That's where I have my drone. I have my drone on that shelf, and they haven't even gone near that shelf.
Oh, you mean the drone that you bought because you said you had to have it so that when there's certain YouTube shots, you can have all these drone shots that you've never used, or you used it once.
I was out in the backyard practicing, and
he doesn't know how to use it, guys.
I'm not sure how to use it. It's gonna. Like anything else, it's supposed to. It will take some practice.
But you never practice. Like today's a nice day to practice. Drew Morris says, "Nice tomatoes for me this summer."
Yeah, tomatoes are good.
And he wants to try.
Do we have any of those cherry tomatoes?
We do. We have yellow cherries.
Those are delicious.
And I think I have some red cherries. Nobia says, "What's the difference between orange and yellow tomatoes?"
Just the
orange
color.
And yellow.
It's just the color.
They're making all these hybrid tomatoes now where basically it's just the skin. The tomatoes, some of them are a little sweeter. I find that the cherry tomatoes, like the yellow ones we had, were super sweet. They almost tasted like grapes.
So we have cherry tomatoes, and then you have grape tomatoes.
See, Bluebird's laughing at you because you said heirloom.
Heirloom, not heirloom.
Air, like the air you breathe.
Yeah, heirloom.
It's that Jamaican H.
The H.
You can't get it out of your mouth.
Well, I don't know if you know the principle in the Hing of Jamaica, but they tend to where any time that you have a word that begins with a vowel,
right?
Okay, that vowel is dropped and an H is tacked on.
So they say hi, and then when there is an H, they drop the H
altogether.
So it's I, oh, how are you?
Or egg
becomes
heg. Orange becomes orange. So there is a method to this madness.
There is. Oh, Janice Nibs is here, and she says, "Hello, Nino, wagwan, Janice."
Big up yourself
with the ear.
With the ear. What kind of ear we ear?
Drew says there is chalkboard paint. Okay, I guess that's washable. Paint?
I actually dread the thoughts. I dread the thoughts of giving my granddaughters paint.
No, I think chalkboard. Oh, there's the crazy guy. Come back again.
That's the guy with the car.
Drag race. Looks like an old man.
I don't know, but he went to the house.
It looks like an old man in the car.
He went to the house with that Portuguese family.
He said the man come down the street on one piece of speed, squeal his tires, and almost for a split second lost control of his car. And his car went.
He swerved.
It's an old man. And he comes out of the car like he was in there hotboxing. He's a big grown man.
Wow.
You should see how much smoke come out of the car. He must have been in there hotboxing. You guys know what hotboxing means, right?
This is
They're laughing. He said, Dreamer says you paint it on the wall and that area becomes a chalkboard. That's what chalkboard paint is.
Well, you know what? As much as I can appreciate that, Dream Warriors, I'll tell you, there's no chalk that's going to be used or chalkboard using this house until summertime when they go out on the sidewalk with a chalkboard paint.
Yeah, they usually go on. They usually go in the driveway at the time.
That's fine. They can. I can just pull out the garden hose and clean that off.
Nobius says, "Do you mean that they taste? Is there a difference in the taste? Do they taste better, the yellow or the orange? It depends on what you like.
Yeah, I don't think they taste better necessarily. I think
just different. Pretty much, they're different.
And it's not so much that the flavor itself is different. I think visually, your eyes tell you that it's supposed to.
Like when you make a salad and you have all these different colored tomatoes, it's kind of cool.
As I'm called that, so when they make the pasta, then call it, this is Rasta pasta. They're only saying that they use usually fusilli, and it's usually a black, a yellow,
different colors,
a white, a red.
Yeah.
And they just call it Rasta pasta. I don't know what kind of rubbish that is.
But with the heirloom tomatoes, they call them heirloom is because they're basically the older model. They're not hybrids. Because the newer tomato varieties, they've improved on certain things. Like the other tomatoes used to get like something called a black spot or bottom end rot, where the bottom of the tomato seems to have like a calloused area.
That's the imperfection.
They weren't perfect. They would grow different. They weren't all perfectly, roughly the same size. But we as consumers, we want a perfect product, right? So they've improved on where the tomatoes don't grow so crazy big, or they stay more compact for balconies and stuff like that. They
separate those things during the harvesting. Whether they have various imperfections or not.
So they call them heirloom tomatoes, I think, for a certain time, and then after a certain amount of years pass by, or when the hybrids come out, they're considered hybrids, and I think after a certain time they can be called heirloom or something like that. I can't remember. I read it somewhere, but heirloom tomatoes are the type of tomatoes that you probably had when you were a kid, and these new hybrid versions, like the ones that we find in the stores, those are all grown in greenhouses most of the time. If you see like tomatoes that look all weirdly shaped and all that, that's probably an heirloom tomato, and it tastes totally different. Tastes so much better, in my opinion. So much better.
So talk about a share, guys.
Priscilla says, stop making fun of my language.
Big up to Sean.
Big up to Sean.
I'll never forget that.
That's an inside joke, guys.
Anyway, talking about a sharing, we my extended family and I did a little we actually auditioned recently for the Canadian version of Family Feud. And it was quite exciting. We did the audition on Zoom, and this is just a picture of, I don't know if you guys can see that.
Glare.
You can't see that. The glare is on there. It's a picture of all the members.
When they ask you to say on a fruit that begins with A, you're going to say orange.
Orange. Our apple. Well, I think one of the funniest episodes I've seen with that show is when the young lady was asked, so what's Popeye's favorite dish? And she jumped up and she did the little dance. She goes, chicken! So you can imagine the new generation, they somehow think when you refer to Popeye,
it's the chicken
spot. Refer to the chicken spot.
Not olive oil.
They forget olive oil and Wimpy and the guy that ate the spinach, not chicken, spinach.
The correct answer was spinach. We have GT Junior, grows in Alaska. Wagwan
Big up
GT.
Yourself, GT.
Up there
How
in
are things Alaska. In Alaska? How's the weather?
How's your garden growing? I know you have a lot of plants indoors.
Them all look at things.
He's hailing up everybody. Everybody's hailing him back. Nobody's is laughing at your spinach.
They have a little thing where they have a Jamaican song that says, big Sunday morning, you lay down in a bed, for you boil 2 bananas, steam 2 fish head. I want to know what's everybody cooking. What's everybody cooking for Sunday dinner?
What are you
cooking?
Know
that Sunday dinner in the Caribbean and West Indian culture is a big thing, because even if you don't have a solid meal all week long, you will certainly be indulging in some Sunday cook. Where y'all cook for Sunday dinner, by the way?
Ask you, where your Sunday dinner day? Ask him. Big chef, where your Sunday dinner day?
No, Sunday is my day off. So
Sunday, the answer is
else.
Sunday dinner.
Take over.
We have lots of leftovers. That's sacrilegious, but
that's always your excuse, leftovers. Why not just turn on the stove and cook something?
Cook what?
Whatever. Anything. Surprise me.
GT Grow says it is 35 degrees there.
Ooh, 35.
35 degrees. What's that Fahrenheit?
Celsius?
That's Fahrenheit. What's that in Celsius?
Well, we don't do Celsius.
But he does Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So look it up, babe. Bluebird says, how can you get that wrong. Degrees. Of course, it's spinach. Well, she got it wrong.
She got it wrong. Because Bluebird, you got to understand these new generational kids. They don't know anything about Popeye the Sailor Man.
It was so funny. I was at work the other day.
They only know about Popeye's fried chicken.
He called me and I said, "Oh, the rotary phone is calling me." She asked me what was a rotary phone, and she's probably mid to late 20s. She asked me, "What's a rotary phone?" Okay. What's a rotary phone? The girl said,
"Oh." And say, you know those phones where as you're dialing these, you turn the dial, but if you get one number wrong, you have to start all over.
Well, I explained to her. It's the one where you use your finger and dash. She said, "Oh, yeah. I know those. I've never seen one though." How have you never seen one? But anyway.
Well, look at the age group.
Yeah, but it's not that old. GT's growing indoors right now. Yes, so am I. Look at this, what I did today, GT. I up-potted my tomato. This is a slicer. I planted this March 17th. So I planted it in the famous red cup. And it smells like a tomato. Yep, I have a bunch of them up there. I have peppers. I have okra. I have all kinds. We Are Dream Warriors says, "Wait, Priscilla, do you plant and grow stuff?" Bluebird says, "True, Nino."
Well, there was once upon a time where people
only know the chicken version.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, 30 degrees is 1.6 degrees Celsius, he says. 30 degrees Fahrenheit is 1 degree Celsius.
Well, that's not too bad. That's just +1.
Priscilla says, "I remember that episode where she said chicken," yes, and she said it with such confidence.
With confidence, too. Talk about chicken. I was going to say something a while ago, but I lost my train of thought.
GT says, "What kind of tomato is that?" This is, I just bought the seeds at Home Depot for this one. Or, yeah. Or no. Yeah. This one is not an heirloom. It's just a slicer tomato. It's a hybrid tomato. It's just called a slicer. And I bought
slicer. I think those are the big.
Yes, and I bought it because it's a hybrid, so you don't get that bottom end rot, and you get that nice big juicy tomato.
We had quite a number of them last year that had a bottom end rot.
Yeah, because we used the heirloom ones. Mind you, the heirlooms are good. There was the worry, the zebra, the what's that one that was like almost striped? Cherokee something, black Cherokee or something like that. But we still have quite a few seeds. The thing is, if you leave it to me, I'll plant one of each. And then what happens when they all grow up, you have a massive amount of tomatoes, and we're like giving them away. I don't mind giving them away, but I really want to, what's my motto? Plant more, spend less.
Spend less.
But I want to be able to manage it and use it, right?
We had a neighbor that it was an older gentleman. And he was retired.
Steve-O was so
and
sweet.
We used to, before we started planting, we used to come home and there were bags sitting on the stairs and we couldn't figure out where these bags of tomatoes was coming from. And I think one day we kind of noticed that it was Steve-O that was bringing. Now, we never suspected Steve-O because
his wife had passed.
Yeah, and he was using a walker.
Yeah.
But this gentleman would make his way over to our house, up our driveway.
So he would be gone to work. I would come home from my night shift, maybe around 8:30, 8:45. And one day I came home a little early and saw Steve-O. He lives, 2 doors down with this little walker, one step at a time. With
his bag.
With the bag of tomatoes from his yard, because he used to sit out and after his wife died and after he recovered from his stroke, he would still do his little gardening and he would bring us these tomatoes.
And he wouldn't just do gardening. We sat here and watched this man tore up his entire lawn, removed his
sitting
entire
on
his walker, and restarted the whole thing on his walker.
Yes.
Every single day was a mission for this gentleman to go out there. Like he was going to work like clockwork. He would go to work at 4 o'clock, check out, or at 8 o'clock, check out at 4.
So sweet.
He would do that every single day. Steve was out there till the project was finished. Yeah. And ever since Steve died and they sold the house.
Yeah.
Steve would be so disappointed in his lawn that he spent so many years.
Oh, you should see his lawn now.
The new neighbors don't take care of it.
Steve was so sweet. I think he was pretty lonely. Like he had family, but you never really saw them. And one day the mailman came to the door and he knocked and he said, "Your neighbor 2 doors over says that he wants you to come over right away." So I got panicked now, thinking that he was hurt or he needed some medical attention or something. No, Steve just wanted to chat. So ever since that, I used to make it a point to go over there. You know, we would talk sometimes,
and we would take turns.
He was so sweet. He passed now.
Yeah, we would take turns, go over and shovel his driveway, especially our daughter Jessica.
Yeah,
she would go over a lot. When
she would shovel. She would
shovel.
Yeah, she would rake his leaves, and he would sit there, and they would talk as he would sit on his walker. He was in that house when we moved in. Yeah, him and his wife. Gentleman. Yeah, he was.
And his wife, an old European lady, never did anything without her apron on. Yes. Remember that?
We used to call her the little babushka.
Always had her apron on.
Always sweeping the millions of little maple swirls that used to come from their tree. The front of their house was spotless. Not a leaf out of place. The lawn, perfect. Doesn't look like that now, but you know, ode to Steve. Wherever you are, Steve-O, I know you're up there somewhere smiling.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Bluebird said it probably gave him a lot of purpose.
It really did.
And Nobia says that's cute.
Yeah.
This is, guys, you never know. You never know. Like,
it's amazing that we have seniors around us, either our parents or neighbors, that we have to make it a point to include them in their daily routine as often as possible, to just check in on them. If it's even a phone call, just check in on them, make sure they're okay, because if you're out there for 40 or 50 years in the workforce and all of a sudden you're removed from the workforce and you don't have a purpose,
or you feel like you
feel like you don't, you just feel defeated. So it's good for them to get up, have a routine, whether you're going out to volunteer or you have something else to do to make you feel like you're still an active contributor to everyday living and people in general.
Yes. They're saying R.I.P. We Are Dreamers says R.I.P. to Mr. Steve-O. And I guess We Are Dreamers asked Priscilla if she grows or makes tomato sauce. And she says no. We Are Dreamers says, okay, Priscilla, I'm going to try tomatoes this year. Okay.
All right. We're looking forward to that. Okay. Guys, as we're here chit-chatting, don't forget to hit those hearts.
Yes.
Give us a thumbs up. YouTube, like the thumbs up.
If you haven't already.
And call a friend. Yes. Tell a friend.
Share the live, as they say. Share me out.
Share the love.
Or bring a friend. We're trying to grow. And this YouTube business, we've come to a certain point, and I feel like right now we're on a little bit of a surge based on our numbers. I think more people are discovering our channel and tuning in and engaging, because it's one thing for you to subscribe to a channel, but if you never engage in that channel, what's the point? Yeah.
So this is why we always try to encourage everyone. Who are those two ladies? They're fairly new.
Oh yeah. Oh, those are visitors to the house with the man that was just hotboxing in the hot rod.
Okay.
Yeah. So
right. Maybe they came in that hot box car.
Yeah. The man was in the car, like I said, going 1,000,000 miles an hour down the street. That was very reckless. But they're out there with no coat and short sleeves, so it must be
really
warm.
Nice and warm.
What's the temperature out there?
It's probably about 2 degrees. So this it's very unusual, because in the summer months,
it's 11 degrees.
That's even better than I thought.
Oh, too bad I have to work.
Summer months, there's really a lot of kids out on the streets, on the sidewalks. I mean, even right here, we've got 2 young ones here. There are 2 young ones to the right of us, 2 young ones to the left of us, and to the left of the left, there's another 3. So there's a tremendous amount of kids that kind of, within the space of these 3 homes, that are visibly, actively playing outside on the sidewalk and on the front lawns. To have this gentleman, and I use that term very loosely, speed and start, squealing his tire down the road is, in my opinion, is quite.
And then you park, so you're not even going through the street.
He was only going 2
You're
doors
going
down.
right there, and you
he
drive
drove in
so
the
far.
driveway.
Bluebird says, even if I'm busy, I keep it on. Thank you so much, Bluebird. We appreciate that. Every mickle mecca muckle. Is that what you say?
Every mickle mecca muckle.
And what else do you say?
One cocoa.
Yeah, that's another one.
Every mickle mecca muckle. It's almost like every mickle mecca muckle in terms of if you turn on a tap and you allow it to just drip one, eventually that bucket will fill up. Okay, so that's the every mickle mecca muckle. Every drop makes a difference. So every bit of support we get makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And one cocoa full basket is the same principle.
These are all Jamaican encouragement. Go get yous.
If you go out on the grass right now and you start picking up those pine cones, eventually you'll have a bucket full of pine cones.
Oh my God, I dread having to pick up. Bit of them. This tree has dropped so many pine cones this year. It's a wonder our poor grass isn't choked out.
Yeah, so I have to, and I'm waiting for the weather to get consistently warmer. I have to go out.
Well, we can go out. We can go out.
You want to
go
as
soon as we're both. No, I have to go to work.
I have to go to work.
Jen Tosh is here. Wagwan, Jen Tosh. Big up yourself.
Jen Tosh.
Jen Tosh, you know every mickle mecca muckle.
Yeah, man. Jen Tosh.
Now, Dreamers is saying it's all good to just say hi or lurk. Yeah, we're good with that. Just tune in.
Man, just tune in.
Dreamers says they've done that before. Hi. They're all welcoming in Jen Tosh. She says it's warm outside. I was in my backyard for a few hours. And Dreamers says, oh, nice getting outside to touch the grass. I know your garden's growing nice out there.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for sure.
But we spend quite a bit of time
when it's warm.
Raking up all the leaves and picking up a lot of pine cones. And to my surprise, the entire front lawn is covered with pine cones again.
Covered.
Yeah, literally.
We have a big, beautiful tree that's a pine tree. Mm-hmm. And I mean, since we've lived in this house, it's really grown.
It's grown quite a bit. We have to limit sometimes and, cut out some limbs.
And I don't mind it there. I would never want it cut down. It's a good piece of shade. It gives you good shade to the front of the house, even though we get a lot of sunlight in this front window. But the pine cones, the pine cones is pretty good, I think.
And furthermore, I don't think you can cut that tree down without permission from the city.
Oh no, you absolutely can't. If you dare cut that tree, first of all, it'll fall on your house and crack your house open. Second of all, the city's gonna fine you because technically, as per bylaw, that is a city tree, even though it's in the middle of our yard. That they're gonna say that's not your property.
That's not your property. That's the city's property.
That's the city's property, even though it's the middle of your lawn.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but halfway up your front lawn
belongs to the city. So if they want to widen their driveway, they're free to do so.
You have the government side. We call it the government side. So anything that is over on the other side of the sidewalk, that will refer to as the government grass. So if you come back towards your property, halfway up, also belongs to the city. They can do whatever they want.
So the tree that's in the middle of the drive of the lawn is on
they'll claim it
on the property line, and they claim it. Even if you do have a tree on your own property, say in the back, you still can't just cut it down.
We had a problem with one of our neighbors in the back who's a bit of a tree hugger. I think he called the city on us because we had a tree in the backyard it had toppled down, and we were using old hockey stick to kind of prop it up, and it wasn't working. Yeah. After a while, the hockey stick thing wasn't working, so we decided to just cut it and just remove it. And I think he may have been the one to call the city because this is the same guy that made a verbal arrangement.
Oh my God, get over it.
To erect a fence on the back portion, and he would pay his portion of the cost.
It was about 5 feet worth of fence that he was supposed to pay for half.
It was less than $300 that he would have to pay me. We agreed on it. Mm-hmm. When the fence was erected and I went to collect the money, the man decided that he ain't paying me nothing. So I said, wonderful. But any day that I look over that fence and I see that property line fence that's there that you have to stare at forevermore removed, I am going to call the city on you because
it's an old city marker.
Yeah, it's an old city marker, and the back fence itself is built on my property. Right. It's not built on the border like it's supposed to. It's built on my property. So that chain link fence that's there as a city marker, you cannot remove that. That's
and mind you guys, for us.
But it's also the same thing with the other lady.
Yes, we see none of it because it's behind our shed. So no skin off our nose. And then the lady that we do share quite a bit of chain link fence at the very back of the yard. Nice lady, you know, we chit chat over the fence every now and again. So when we told her our intention was to put up the wooden fence a little bit higher, other than the chain link fence. I mean, this is an older house. It was built in the 70s, so it was all chain link. The woman decided, no, she doesn't want to participate.
She doesn't want to participate.
So I said, okay. So we still put the fence up, but we put it on our side of the property.
And then she had the gall to say, you mean I won't be able to look over the fence and say hi anymore? And I'm like, I'm glad you won't.
And then she wanted to move. She wanted to take down the chain link fence, but you can't. The chain link fence is a property marker.
You can't.
If you take that down, then you're coming into my property.
She said, I won't be able to say hi to you guys anymore over the fence.
She was a bit nosy.
I'm happy for that.
She was a bit nosy.
I'm really happy.
She just wants to look to see what we were doing. So Bluebird is saying the warm weather is time for poop on your car or sap from a tree.
Oh yeah.
And Nobia says sap on your ride is even worse.
Yeah, I remember we had sap dripping from the tree and it left a permanent mark on the vehicle. Like it was just really bad. That wasn't good at all.
Jen Tosh says call the city to come and pick up the pine cones then if it's their tree.
Yeah, exactly. How I wish I could
take up
do
your
that.
Pine cone.
They wouldn't dare come and do that.
We can get 10 yard waste bags full of pine cones and needles out of this grass.
They want you to take care of it. They want you to maintain it with no support from them. Oh, and when they actually, you're responsible for shoveling the snow in front of your house. Because if someone were to fall on the sidewalk because you neglected to shovel the snow, you could be sued. You could get into a lot of trouble. But the city does
come. The city does come and run a little mini plow.
Yeah, as part of her property tax.
Yes. Right. Bluebird says, "No way your neighbor called the yard police."
Trust me, he did. Trust me,
we have
that tree hugger did
a huge pine cone.
Because we're not the only one that he called. He actually called
on the neighbor behind him
as well.
Yeah, because the tree. When we put up the fence, like we said, there was a part of this huge pine tree. I mean, the span of one of the branches is. It's oh my God, I don't know how it's huge. Anyway, part of the trunk was in the fence line. So he probably assumed somehow that we cut through it. We did not cut through it. We notched around it. Like who would cut through that?
And the city actually came to examine it.
And the city kind of went, it was him. They snitched on him. They didn't keep a secret. And I don't know what's his problem. Like he small talks with us. And that was before we put up the shed. And there was just that little chain link fence there with a little light lilac bush. So you could kind of see through all that stuff, right?
So now
he can't see nothing.
So now we also have we've got a garden, what do you call it? A garden shed.
That's what you said. The shed is up, so
we store things.
Plus the wooden fence, so he can't see a thing.
So we've got the shed, but I've also got place around the shed. I've got planks of wood that we've driven like staples and nails through there because I want to make it as uncomfortable as possible for raccoons or skunks to think that they can go back there and laze around. They go back there, they're gonna poke the hell out of you.
Right.
So there's little planks all around there. So if you're gonna go down the side of the shed, you're gonna have to first lift that piece of plank. Otherwise, you too will be stepping on nails.
That's right, and that's because
it's really work.
We don't want them to go back there and
nest
and be a breeding ground back there because it's perfect for them. All the trees fall and blow back there. So far, it's been a few years.
Yeah, it's been working.
It's worked.
I haven't seen, and if and when I do get that issue of raccoon problems, I've got 3 traps in my garage, guys. I don't know if I mentioned this, but over the years, I bought some raccoon traps, and I've perfected the art of catching raccoons.
This man
I don't like
is so proud of himself for buying that trap, and he has special gloves, and he catches these raccoons and relocates them. But one of these days, you see, he's gonna go out there, and there's gonna be a skunk in the trap. Then what?
Then you just cover it up. They can't spray.
Make sure when you're transporting that skunk in the trap, you use your vehicle. Make sure because you're not using my vehicle.
I'll reach out to my friend.
And when that skunk sprays you, you stay out there with it. Because
but what are you gonna do if you get a skunk in there? You just gotta get close. You gotta throw a blanket or something over it so it can't see.
I thought they spray when they get panicked or scared.
Yeah, but if you throw something over it to blanket it and they can't see you, they can't panic if they can't see it. They don't know what's out there lurking.
Well, I don't want to be part of that mission.
But I'll call some brave kid in the name.
I don't want to be part of no skunk mission. And Nobi's is saying, I wonder if the city would pick up the pine cone. That's a hell no.
No, they
no way.
The city barely want to pick up the snow.
Bluebird's laughing about the fence life.
No, that fence thing is a very serious thing because any day I look over that fence,
especially nowadays when the houses are worth so much more, so you don't want to lose
on your land.
An inch of your property, not
even
an inch.
Encroach on your land, and what they'll do is just imagine if they move that chain link.
That's right, you lose some
and
of your property.
You lose that piece of property, and then the next buyer that comes around inherits that, and you neglect it because the property line was removed. And that could be a serious thing. And people try to encroach on your land just about every day. You got to pay attention.
Drew Morris says, that's true. You have to take care of the snow in front of your house. And Nobia says, raccoons, yikes. Jen Tosh, you have enough time, Nino. Relocate.
Hey, there was a guy on my job that offers to come out because he said where he lives, he does a different kind of relocating.
What kind of relocating does he do?
According to him, he has a wide property. And when he gets raccoon, he has a BB gun and he pulls out.
No, I wouldn't sanction that.
He does relocate them, as the law says. Relocate. That is a form of relocation.
Cruelty.
That's what he's offered to come and do it.
No, thanks. Well, we had a neighbor that lived here before we lived here. He moved now, just moved last year. That wretch used to feed the raccoons in his backyard. So that's why we probably had so many raccoons in the neighborhood. He used to feed them. So he used to bring them to his yard, or they used to be attracted to his yard because they would come every evening for food. Yeah. And I mean, this is the time of year that they're waking up, they're mating, they're having babies. They need a nest.
They're like
and they're not afraid of nothing. You think if they see you, they're running, they're looking at you like,
do you know that there was a skunk?
Where?
That used to be out here. I haven't seen him. It's been a while now. I used to always see him. I used to always he used to just walk across like nothing. When I come out in the mornings, I'm out of the house by around 5 a.m.
Nino's terrified when he comes out. He starts his car. He makes sure that
make a lot of noise.
He blows the horn, and
because I've seen this raccoon on a few occasions, and I don't want to creep up on the raccoon.
I think it's the skunk. He doesn't want to get sprayed.
The skunk rather. I've seen him. Skunks are usually, I think their eyesights are pretty bad, and they're dumb as ever, right?
See, Pinky AFM is saying Toronto's known for raccoons.
So you're gonna sneak up on them, and then they're gonna be
startled and spray you.
So this is why I make a lot of noise to make them aware that I'm on my way out, and I get in the car as fast as possible.
Now, Bluebird says you can't be shooting the critters. You can't be shooting the critters. Listen, we spend a lot of money over here getting rid of critters and keeping them out of our space.
I'll tell you something, Bluebird. When these critters make their way into your attic, and when you're sleeping at nights, it sounds like there's somebody walking on top of your head.
Crazy.
From months on end.
You can hear the squeaking from the babies.
The birth of babies. They're defecating in your ceiling,
and it's toxic.
And it's toxic. They've cost us.
I was always afraid
we'd have to replace our roof line because they've gone in the suffix and just ripped things apart. And they've created
chewed on wires, and our front light didn't work. Oh my God! Yeah. I was afraid that one day we'd be here sleeping and the thing would crash through the roof because you would hear it. It sounded like a ton of bricks over your head.
There was one day I went outside just to change a light bulb. And as I screw the light bulb out, the whole unit just came off in my hand.
Yeah.
They were up there and they chewed through the wires.
Yeah.
Just imagine that. So them chewing through the wires can lead to something even more disastrous, is that could start a fire.
Yes.
Right? So having them
in not there. A joke.
And I sat here one night and watched, this is after my father-in-law went up there and put chicken wire to stop them from going in.
Yeah. And it worked.
And that worked, but prior to that, we had the raccoon trapper come in, and what he
had
did
to put a trap door
because we had raccoons in the ceiling in the attic. He put a one-way trap door. So how it works now is that they would come out to feed, but they cannot get back in.
And they were mad.
Well, really, can't get back in. I heard like there was a burglar trying to break in. When I pull the curtains, I see a raccoon.
You can see his tail just hanging off the eaves drop there.
And I'm like, he just kept going, and no matter how much, Well, each time you bang
off the trap door.
Each time you bang, they go stealth. They just stop.
Like as if you can't see them.
I can see you. You're right there. You're raccoon. So he just stopped, and then he starts again. Lo and behold, the next morning, first crack of dawn, we go outside. The trap was bent.
It was bent, but he didn't get in.
He couldn't have gotten in through there.
But he made significant damage to that thing. Yeah, so once we were assured that they were all out and we weren't hearing any more noise and whatever.
Time for the chicken wire.
We secured that wire, and every single spot where they could rip on the ceiling, we had an old garage door, metal door that had a split, and they would tear it and let each other through.
I saw one night, I pulled up in the garage and I started calling, and we had again, as Lo said, an old metal garage.
Yeah.
And there was a raccoon right in front of the garage door, and I thought, oh man, I'm standing and I'm honking and I'm flashing the light.
They did not move.
Being an urban raccoon,
they're not
startled by people.
Not at all.
They don't care.
Yeah, no. And I thought raccoons are really smart.
I thought to myself that this raccoon, poor guy, he's trying to let his buddy out. He's trying to let his buddy out of the garage because the homeowner is here and he's gonna be mad. He wasn't trying to let anybody out of the garage. He's trying to let himself into the garage. He wouldn't stop prying till he got in the garage.
And they can really make their bodies.
They can disjoint their bodies, and it was really weird. They can get into a space, believe it or not, that's this flat.
Oh yeah.
There's
YouTube videos out
crack
there.
their spine and they just get flat.
Crazy.
And they can get, it's really weird.
And once we fixed that garage,
they
kept coming. They would bang on the door because that was their nightly ritual. They would go in there and raid our garbage bins.
When they couldn't get into the garage any longer because we have changed the door, they started defecating right in front of the garage.
Yeah.
To say, what did you do?
Yep. and the guy that we had come out here, he was like a raccoon whisperer. He was kind of like a zoologist, and he knew all about raccoons' patterns,
their behaviors.
He studied them in school. I don't remember what his official title was, but he had this business where it was raccoon removal, but he did it the smart way by kind of screwing up their normal habits and patterns.
And he was featured
and he's the only one that worked. He's the only one that worked. All the other guys that were trapping,
they just wanted to take your money. Because unbeknown to us, and this guy actually admitted that raccoons, their pattern is that of a 5 to 6 block radius.
Yeah.
Okay. If you remove them from the property,
they'll be back.
I trap them and remove them, they will be back. So this guy that I paid upwards of $600 to remove these raccoons. And the funny thing is, the first time that he set a trap, he put peanuts in the trap.
Yeah.
Well, the next morning we came out, the peanuts were gone, but the trap was never triggered.
The trap was not triggered, but they had all the food.
All the food was gone.
And he caught 0 raccoons, but you still had to pay him.
Okay, so we paid him, and that didn't work. He came back again, but this time he didn't want 600. He wanted like 400.
And he still didn't catch any.
Still never caught any raccoons.
So it's $1,000 worth of money to this man, and he caught not one.
Hence the reason why I've got 3 traps in the garage. I went out and bought my own traps, and I've even got a smart to say I used to just open a tin of sardines and put out there. Right? And I realized that
you're giving them too much food.
Yeah, waste your sardine. So I started, there's 3 or 4 pieces of sardines in a tin. I started using one at a time.
And it works.
And trust me, 1 year I caught 12 raccoons and 3 possums.
Yeah.
In my backyard.
And that was the year that we did major renovating on this.
I never knew that
on the garden
that I had a zoo in my backyard.
It was a zoo because we never really used to go back there. We were too busy. The grass in some areas was tall. There was a lot of hiding spots for them.
We had rabbits out there at one point.
Yeah, so we did a total overhaul of the backyard. As a matter of fact, we filmed it all. There's a video if you want to check out that video, but. We took the sod off. We went all the way down to nothing. We did a lot of concrete work. We regraded it so it's nice and even and put new sod and kind of planned out the gardens. And then the raccoons came and they said, what the heck? This is not
confused.
They were confused. So there was a time there where they were still coming. But there was nowhere for them to hide. So you'd be sitting back there. All of a sudden, you'd see like 3 or 4 of them just
the thing is, right around dusk, if you look around, you'll see eyes.
Yes.
Eyes looking at you. And that was the sign to say it was time to go indoors. It's our turn now. We come to take over the backyard for the evening. But we fixed those because I had a period of time there where I would get up every morning and the big excitement of my waking up was to look out my window and see how many raccoons did we catch last night. And when you look out there at times, boat traps would be filled. It'd be like, yeah, baby, I got 2 last night. Eventually, they get the idea because what we were trying to do was to disrupt their habits. Yeah. Because they're clearly using our backyard. And that's what
that expert suggested. Yeah. So if you guys are having problems with the critters, what he suggested is to do something that throws them off their normal
interfere with their pattern,
right? So with us, we changed the garage door so they can't go in there. And he said when it's just getting dusk or overnight when it's dark, run your sprinkler then because they don't like that. They don't like the water that comes on them, and they don't like certain sounds. Yeah. So if you have, say, an old radio, nobody has an old radio.
Didn't we try that radio frequency thing?
Yeah, I don't know if it really worked.
That didn't work.
But
we tried that. We tried ammonia.
Ammonia works. Ammonia works for skunks. If you buy just the pure ammonia, it really smells bad. You have to wear a mask.
And we also tried cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
We've tried what else? We tried jizz. If you Jamaicans out there know jizz.
The jizz smells very similar to the ammonia.
Yeah, it's really foul,
and what I did was just get regular dollar store sponges that you would use to clean, soak it in the jizz or the ammonia, and just put it where in areas where you see them. And it smells so bad, they hate that smell.
Hate the smell.
And they won't come around. Mind you, when it rains, you have to reapply. But if you're having like under your deck or something, trust me, it works.
I remember a few summers ago, I was going by way of using cayenne pepper. And at the time, you can get 1 bag of cayenne pepper for $2 or $3. So I'd go out and buy a few.
Not with the orange monster, the orange weirdo.
$10 pack for
and that's even at
$10.
The Chinese grocery store.
$10 a pack for cayenne pepper.
Gentosh said sardine expensive. You put on 1 whole tin of sardine.
No, Gentosh, I used to put one
whole tin of sardine. He's fattening them up.
I can split that.
That's what's bringing them to the yard because they know you're feeding them sardines. Bluebird says you guys are living on a farm with all those critters.
It appears that way, doesn't it?
And we are Drew Morris calling you the raccoon hunter. Yeah, I need to make him a shirt. Raccoon hunter.
Boy, they're pesky though. They're pesky because they will do things right in front of you.
Yes, they're very clever raccoons.
They're very clever. There is a series though on CBC.
I can't stand to watch.
There's a series on CBC. Something about the life of a raccoon or the raccoons roaming or something that effect. And it actually shows
they have no predators.
It actually shows you how they dislocate their spines.
Oh, it's so awful to watch weird. How they get through
and
you're
like,
small
they
spaces.
Can really do that?
Oh, it's gross.
And they can. Who's that?
I don't know, but they better not be parking in front of my house for too long because I will go out to them.
I just noticed your car's not there.
Yeah. Oh. Jermaine went to pick up Zuri.
Okay.
Listen, when I'm here and someone parks in my house, I stand up in my front window.
You're the parking police.
I'm the parking police because, guys, show me in the chat if you appreciate someone parking in front of your house. Everlasting.
No, if they just do it once in a while.
If it's a visitor, sure.
It's a visitor.
But if somebody takes up residence at a parking spot in your house, tell me if you like that.
You get guys that
tell me if you like that.
As much as they have a driveway, they don't park in their driveway. They just want to park in front of your house. They won't park in front of their own house.
No, don't bring up the neighbor. Don't bring up the neighbor. The neighbor only parks in front of the house if he's working on his car.
And I don't mind.
That's fine. That's fine. That's not what I'm complaining about.
What I'm referring to is the fact that when there was a vehicle that was not mobile and it was parked.
That was once. No, that was like 2 years ago.
Let me tell you something.
You spoke to the man. You know what about Nino? Because he spoke to the guy and the guy said, "You don't own the road," which we don't.
No, but
and Nino took it to heart.
No, but
and argue with the man.
But here's the unfair situation. So I have my driveway to the right of my driveway.
Oh my God! Here we go.
House. To the left of my driveway is the neighbors. That vehicle was parked there for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Picture this. This vehicle did not move, and it was parked there for 6 weeks. And after 6 weeks, it was moved. Guess where it was moved to? In front of my house. And it sat there for another 6 weeks.
Enough of the man. That was so long ago.
That is so unfair. And when I spoke to him, I mean, I didn't like the answer I got. I didn't think it was fair.
Put down that blind. That was long ago. The answer I got. The man does not park in front of your house anymore. But he doesn't
do it to, now. But I'm saying.
Nobia says you need a no parking sign. And Gentar said, China, fix the orange man.
Yes.
Then fix him backside. And I'm here for it. I love it. Elbows up. And I'm still making a conscious effort at the grocery store to buy Canadian.
And I'll tell you this one. I'll tell you this. that
Bluebird is laughing. He said he's laughing that the man said, "You don't own the road."
Yeah, he was like,
and he did, and he was right. We don't own the road.
We don't own the whole road. He's absolutely right. But you cannot park with an immobile vehicle for 6 weeks in front of somebody's house. That's not fair.
Says
that is not right.
I need free access to my driveway. They weren't blocking the driveway. I'm just saying the spot directly in front of your house. Maybe moved. I'm a rotary phone too, but I believe that spot indirectly belongs to that house. If they have a visitor or if they need extra parking, that's generally where they park. Like you can have people park in front of your house, but usually on the street at night, most people are in their driveway. Like we're lucky still in this neighborhood. We don't have like people that stay on the street and it's filled with cars. But I hate to see people everlastingly
park. Is that a little guy next door coming home? Is that one of the little boys next door?
Yeah, I think so.
Giancarlo?
You're too fast. When you're watching the little boy leaving.
Because he looks like he just came home. Like he
probably went swimming. Hi, Giancarlo.
They came out with a suitcase. I think he went more than just swimming.
You see how Nino fast when he's sitting by him for my window in fast.
I think he might have been away. They came out with a yellow suitcase.
We put this window. It's a big bay window. You can actually sit on the ledge of the window.
Can I tell you?
And sometimes I do. And I'm telling you, when we first started this YouTube channel and we were home because we had the big C, COVID, we sat on this ledge and it feels like you're getting sun because it gets so much sun. So nice.
Vitamin D.
It's really so nice. I wish you could just imagine the amount of plants I have behind you on this ledge. But she says, I need free access to my driveway. M. Davis says, pop their tires, yes.
Yes,
pop the tires. No, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't allow them to pop tires. Rodora Vanderpool says elbows up. I'm assuming you're Canadian. I love that elbows up.
You're speaking about elbows up, and we're not taking. I really don't want to go into the U.S. right now because too many times, and they might see on my phone because I hear the border service are checking phones.
For what?
Well, because I've referred to that orange guy as the orange turd so many times.
And they're
that we call him the orange
Davis,
guy, the orange man.
Orange turd or the orange weirdo.
Turd is what I call him.
But they can't leave if you pop their tires.
Did you hear as
is
well,
what
though,
Dreamer is
that
saying.
In the last couple of weeks, the world's economy has lost almost $1 trillion because of all these.
And you know what?
I
think the reason why he's doing it all, because there's a video that I saw where he's in the White House with a bunch of his billionaire friends and they're all laughing and bragging. And he's saying, you made $1 billion, you made $1 trillion, you made this amount. So all this is to manipulate the market. Insider trading, because they all know that he's going to flip his orange turd self in 24 hours. So they know when to buy, when to dump stock. Yeah. So there's a lot of insider trader trading happening amongst this billionaire set. And they're making money like crazy. While we at the bottom here are friggin' losing
the bottom feeders are fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah.
We need to
and we're not watching what they're doing.
We need to recognize that Gentar said, what we're doing.
I went to Costco today and put back anything from the USA. And you know what? I've been doing the same. There was the most perfect strawberries and they were on sale for $2.49.
I don't even buy.
I left them. So did everybody else.
The other day I went in the supermarket and I saw, and again, for a lot of these supermarkets, it is a marketing ploy, but why are you buying it? They would say product of US, product of Canada right next to it. Yeah. You know which one I picked up.
And we never used to think about that before.
Yeah, and as I was leaving, I saw a lady picking up some of the U.S. product, and I said, They do have ones from Canada over there.
Nino did say that. You're lucky she didn't tell you about your Ras. And Janice says, I fully agree. Right? Elbows up, Canada. Yeah, it's about time Canada stands up and fights back.
But it's not just.
It's unfortunate.
To all my American brothers and sisters,
we have so much family over there.
I'll tell you guys right now, it's not about you guys. It's about what the government is doing. And you can understand that what they're doing is so unfair.
Yes.
But also what they're doing is causing damage to not just themselves, but to the U.S. citizens, because eventually what is going to happen is it's going to be the rest of the world against the U.S.
Yeah.
And they're going to
that's what's happening. They are isolated.
Because the rest of the world
all these other countries are making deals. Yes.
Yeah, and they're just making deals amongst themselves. And they're just, you don't want to be U.S. As somebody said the other day, yes, you can bring all the jobs back to America. Bring all the jobs back. That's great.
They're not going to be
But now all of a sudden an iPhone is going to cost $5,000. Who the hell is going to buy that iPhone?
So the orange turd went and made an exemption for the iPhones on the tariff because I guess his billionaire friends were told him that it's going to increase the price of iPhones.
Yeah, but China, listen, I don't care what you guys say. And I said this many, 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 many moons ago that one day we're going to wake up and we're going to see the Chinese currency as the currency of the world backed by gold. And now that they're pushing China a little much,
that's right.
China can flood the market with currency.
It happened for half a day. The bond market started to indicate that US dollar dipped a little bit because European and that maybe China was dumping some of their US bonds. That's why he quickly reversed this tariff, because if all of those countries holding U.S. bonds dump them, U.S. dollar is going to drop like a brick. And I think that's the ace in the hole.
As we see just the other day, a 6-month high, the Canadian dollar went up by 2 cents. Yeah. It went up over 72 cents, which is...
That's the ace in the hole. But
I think, and also pay attention to what's going on in Africa. Right?
I want Africa to rise.
What's going on in Africa is rising.
Very good.
Pay attention to what's going on in Africa, because Pan-Africa is no joke. And you can find now that there are a lot more countries in Africa that are fusing and start using the Chinese currency as their actual currency of trade.
And they're opening our eyes so that we don't think it's just about starving kids.
Just the whole coalition of the young general in Africa that's fused in the whole thing together, because their intention right now is to make Africa, the entire continent of Africa, use only one currency. It's quite an undertaking. One currency, one defense force, one just about everything. That in itself is power. Yeah. And that is threat to the Western world.
But why does that general have to dress like that? He looks like
that's just how he dresses. That's like asking why was Fidel Castro dressed in his camouflage?
I guess
that's how he dressed.
Now Nobius,
he's a military man.
Bluebird says the window is informing. I love this window. Yeah, it makes me see all the way down the end of the street, practically both ways. Nothing past me at this window. Where am I? Gentar says, you guys remind me of my mom spying on everybody in the neighborhood. True, but not tell them.
Tell nobody. True secret.
We Are Dream Warriors is welcoming in Rodora Vanderpool. I think this is your first time here. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here. I like that name, though. Rodora Vanderpool. You sound like...
very classic.
You sound like, the rich aristocracy.
Yeah, you sound like you have money.
Yes, you have money.
Like you have money. I like that
Nobius Nightshade says, gotta do what you can these days in these price wars. A true thing you say. Gentar says, insider trader Imado. Yes, that's what that's a lot exactly of the reliable news that was coming out. And they had the receipts. Trading. So I believe it. Trading. Gentar says, told my brothers to come back to Canada, as I'm never stepping back foot in that country again.
I am afraid. I am afraid.
Throw me in a jail because I have no filter, read the Orange Man. Me and you both, sister. It's scary. I have no desire to go anywhere across the border.
I don't, it's funny enough that we can turn around and we can blame the orange turd. But we have to understand that
the people voted him in?
As much as he's a figurehead, the people vote him in, and there are also other governors.
Think they did.
There are also other governors and senators.
Yes, the Republicans are aiding and abetting.
They're aiding and abetting.
Yes,
right. So we can't. Yeah, we can blame it on the one person as the figurehead, but It's much more than that. There's more people involvement, and they're allowing him to be a bully and to push everybody else
is saying hello back to We Are Dream Warriors. Jen Tasha says, I'm here for bricks. Me too, girl. Mm-hmm. Nobia says Africa is using Chinese money. I never knew that.
Oh yeah,
Jen Tasha says President Traoré of Burkina Faso is on a roll. Yes. I tell you.
Yes, that young boy, your young strength, the young lion of the new generation.
And you know what? Listen, all that information coming out of Africa is making it so much stronger.
Listen, I'm going to show you how the propaganda continues.
All right.
Our granddaughter the other day, she's sleeping too. She just came home. Our granddaughter the other day made reference to the kids in Africa and saying that the kids in Africa don't have toothbrush.
Go put her down, baby.
So we asked her, where did you learn that?
Yeah.
Apparently on one of the shows that
one of her little
watch,
kids YouTube shows
that the kids in Africa use toothbrush. I don't know what it sticks. I don't know what it is that they're
it was one of her shows.
The Kenyan tribe
went to visit a Kenyan tribe.
Okay. And they discovered what they did traditionally.
But it was a traditional Kenyan tribe.
A stick that they chew on.
So it wasn't that they were feeding the kids misinformation.
That's what I thought.
She took it,
she understood it.
Meaning that all kids in Africa use these chew sticks to brush their teeth. So we had to purposely show her kids in Africa are just like she is. That was just a specific tribe. So guys, you got to watch what your kids are watching.
Africa, as we talk about Africa like it's a country, Africa is a continent with many countries.
True.
Africa in general has become very developed, very modern, and a little reference to that chew stick.
Ghana.
A little reference to the chew stick thing. I remember growing up and seeing the Rastafarians in Jamaica
with
the chew stick, and they used to chew on it. And yes, they used to use it to brush their teeth. And those guys, Rastafarian, they didn't believe in the toothpaste. But again, this gentleman from what's the place called again?
Burkina Faso.
He is a strong lion, man. He's a young fellow.
Yes,
strong lion. He ain't playing around, and he's serious about uniting Africa.
Gentar says, I love him, Lorna. He's always ready to pop off.
Yes, man.
They've been trying to assassinate him. I hope he's well protected.
Several attempts.
And Redora says, riches in faith. Mm-hmm. And Nobius Nightshades is welcoming her again. Dreamer says, wait, I don't see any tea. Nino and Lo, you usually are sipping on something. What do you mean? We have tea. What do we have here? He has Morehouse.
I got my Morehouse
and I have
cup,
Spellman.
And she has the Spellman.
Yeah. Those are two predominantly black colleges in the U.S. that I don't know when I'm ever going to go to those campuses again. Not the way that it is now, guys.
Yep.
And Bluebird says...
And let me tell you, those campuses, when they have homecoming, I've been down there for their homecoming, unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you get a chance, chime in. We're
always sipping on something. Genta says Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger left the ECOWAS. What does that stand for? You left ECOWAS. I know that's an acronym.
Trading on their
and start trading on their own. Is that the European trading partners?
It probably is.
And now they start trading on their own. Mali held up gold for Barrick Gold.
Mm-hmm. Barrick Gold's
for money big that they company. Owed to the country.
Thank you, because they all go in there. I've never yet heard them make mention of any gold mine or diamond mine or mineral mine in Europe. All in Africa, but yet all the wealth is in the worlds of the European, and the worlds of Africa, and Africans have been left to starve and to suffer. While all
not anymore. So you know what? The orange turd has done a good thing.
Well, they woke up before the orange turd, but we know they're trying to make it worse.
On the internet calling the man turd.
Well,
refer to him as a turd.
He has
done. Plan to go to the U.S.
I won't say he's done a good thing. He has made the rest of the world wake up and take stock and try to look at their own country and their policies and see how they can promote their own self.
That's kind of like the same thing that Carl Lewis did many years ago.
Carl Lewis?
Yes.
And what a segue.
Yes. And you're going to understand exactly why I brought up Carl Lewis. That Carl Lewis did when he made the comment about a lot of Jamaican sprinters gaining scholarship to the U.S. then citizenship, then running track for the U.S. He barred that, and or he cried foul so many times that they kind of convinced a lot of the Jamaican athletes to stay home and train. And this is where man like Usain Bolt or Safa Powell, and that's when those guys decided they're going to be training in Jamaica and represent Jamaica, because Carl Lewis cried foul. He didn't like the idea that they were coming there as competition, and that encouraged them to stay home in their homeland.
That's right.
And represent their homeland. Now, two of the greatest sprinters in Shelly Ann and Usain Bolt. Hey, the world know about them now. Thanks, Carl. What's going to eventually happen is everybody's going to hear and know about Africa and the true strength about Africa and Jamaica. About Pan-Africa.
That's right. Okay. And I'm here for it. And guess what? So now that we're not planning to go stateside, we're looking to go everywhere else. It's a big world, guys. Yeah. We have to discover the rest of the world. Yeah. It's not all about the U.S. and their money's worth too much. We have to pay too much over there.
Money's overinflated, man.
We have to pay too much money to go over there.
It's not a real value. It's not a real value.
Okay, she's telling us what it means.
What's going on?
It stands for Economic of Community of West Africa. Uh-huh. It's a European funded organization. Okay. I have to research that.
It's European funded. Yeah, just so they can scoop
pulled
the cream off the top.
They've left that and start trading amongst their own.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's good.
Beautiful.
That's good.
There's a lot of young, vibrant, modernized thinking African leaders.
Yeah, and a lot of them were trained abroad, so they have the view of the rest of the world. They're not just like starving children with flies in their eyes that they used to. That's all they used to show us of Africa.
I was watching an image a short while ago about the container that fell off the
in Jamaica
ship in Jamaica.
God!
So they had
chicken. Everybody, I grab up chicken.
They had this container fell off a freighter that was
in
going
Jamaica.
They said it was destined for the Cayman Islands, but it fell off. And according to maritime reports, it was reported to the Jamaican Coast Guard community that this container fell off. Okay. And based on the manifest and the container number that the one they lost, they knew ahead of time that it was filled with chicken. Now, mind you, two things I'm thinking about. In order for you to be transporting chicken on a freighter, you must have a refrigerated unit doing so.
Okay.
It can't just be a regular container. So don't think that you have a container, you're going through the Caribbean, the heat is like, 75, 80 degrees. No, it has to go in a reefer container. It only makes sense. So this container fell off. Maritime community was informed. The container then washed itself up, I believe, in Kingston and Portmore.
Somewhere.
Citizens realized that the container contained chicken.
But the government said that the chicken was contaminated. So they were not to take it.
How was it contaminated? I'm sure, like I said, there's no way that container ship could be moving.
People didn't care them grabbing the chicken.
If it's not in a reefer, then the product is garbage before it even left its origin.
Oh, we have Miss Jenny from Mint at 60 with Jenny Chan. Hi, Miss Jenny. I want to tell you, I was telling you guys that I woke up at the crack of dawn. Guess who was up with me? Miss Jenny. Me and Miss Jenny had a vibe this morning. She brought church to me this morning, introduced some of her scriptures to me this morning. Everybody welcome in Miss Jenny. She's a blessed soul.
We appreciate you, Miss Jenny.
Yes, I appreciate you this morning. We had a good chat.
Let me go back to my continuation. So what they're saying is that even though the maritime community and the maritime officials were informed, right, they did not have the resource, okay, because apparently the ship the container didn't fall off that day. It fell off a week prior to being washed up on shore.
Oh.
A week prior, but they did not have the resources to be able to make it to where they suspect that it was going to wash up ashore. Okay. Can you imagine that nonsense? That's the most ridiculous nonsense.
The people that opened the container
and helped themselves
to the chicken. And I'm sure they've eaten the chicken and nobody's perished.
It probably wasn't bad chicken because they wouldn't have consumed something if it was bad, stinky, smelly.
That's what the government was trying to say. But a lot of people have consumed it and they're still here to tell the tale. They
don't have the resources, but you guys have the resources to go. I'm sad.
Okay.
Taking out people and you're always making claims that It was a shootout. It always is a shootout, and somebody got hit.
Now, We Are Dreamers says if you're listening or just watching, it's all good.
It's all good
He's
fun.
He's welcoming in Miss Jenny.
Good fun. Miss Jenny, we welcome
and so
you.
And so is Nobius.
We appreciate you. Priscilla, chicken breast with what?
Bluebird says, damn, that's chicken crazy. Breast. Nino, it washed up a whole week later?
Yes, a whole week later. And they knew projectively where it is going to wash up, but yet they didn't deploy and allocate the proper personnel to go and secure it. Now, here's a big controversy now. Now that the container is empty, they're wondering who is going to retrieve the container and remove it from the shoreline. Wow. So
now Jen Tarsh says, remember USAID for Africa? It was the worst thing that happened to Africa. They supported so many coups in Africa and destabilized nations after nations. Wow.
And that's what made companies like Barrett go rich.
Wow.
And all these companies that go in and take and
I don't think Africa's standing for any of that nonsense.
Let me not use the word take. Let me use the word steal.
Yes.
From Africa and steal all its natural resources.
Oh, somebody's coming up to our house.
Steal, which is what they've done for a long time.
Who's that?
Oh, it's Renee. That's what they've done. They've stolen a lot of golds, a lot of minerals.
Yes.
I mean, listen, let's not be shy about this. Ask Buckingham Palace. How much of Africa's gold they got all locked up.
Well, beautiful people, we have to find a name for my crew, for our Nino and Lo crew.
That's it.
I have to think about it and give the crew, the family, a name.
How about we call them Nino and Lo crew?
Wow.
How about we call
that's not very imaginative.
And because we're thinking about getting some merch, guys. I need to get my hands on some. If anybody out there know how we can, organize or reach out to get some merch. I need to get the Nino. I should be advertising. Yes, I'm in Canada. I get it, but I need to be advertising Nino and Lo.
I want a rotary phone shirt, but I'm going to get that.
I would wear that proudly.
Miss Jenny is thanking you all for the warm welcome. And guys, I say this every chance that we're live here. If you're a content creator, and most of the content creators that are on this live have a profile picture. Miss Jenny is one. We Are Dream Warriors is one. I know GT Grows in Alaska is one. Reach out to them because we're all small YouTubers and we're all out here in these YouTube streets just trying to get along.
We're like a squirrel trying to get a
nut. And I hope you guys have all given us a thumbs up as you've entered the live because we're at that hour. We're at an hour and 30 minutes. And you know what that means?
Your cutoff time.
That's usually cut off. Because I got to go to work tonight, people.
Listen, y'all bless up yourself.
Yes.
Have a great week. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'll tell you one other thing. Next week, Sunday, same time, same back channel, 4:30.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday, we will be here. Bring a friend, tell a neighbor, tell everybody you want to tell.
Oh, Red's Room just jumped
Red's
in.
Room, Wagwan, bless up yourself.
Wagwan, Reds.
Better late to the party than never. We appreciate you.
And Red's Room is another content creator, guys. Yes. So you can jump onto his channel. Red's Room is a good guy.
So don't forget, next Sunday, 4:30, tune in. Bring a friend with you. Bring a neighbor with you.
Let's try and bust this number.
Build this thing up, man. Because at this rate, we're trying to do what we can, bring you what we can, but we need your support. This whole item would only build, and it will be.
And we have been building. Support. And listen, your support has been amazing.
Yeah, don't you forget that we see you every one of you.
Every week.
We see you every week. Consistency. We love you guys.
Yes.
We appreciate you. So go on, big up on yourself. The whole lot
you just chat so.
I want to that lady.
No.
You're trying to censor me?
Yes.
Drink water and mind your business.
Priscilla says, enough rice and peas chicken I eat today. Wow, me I tell you. And Red's Room is saying, nice green shirt.
Yes. See that? The Canadian flag.
Nobius is hailing you, saying family. Everyone's hailing him. Okay, Bluebird said 4:30 on Sundays. Nice. I'll be here. I follow. Thank you for following. If you haven't already followed or subscribed, YouTube says subscribe. Please go ahead and do that. And we're gonna work out our membership. So if you really want to help to support the channel, you can join our membership. That's coming soon.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget to check out all the new videos we have up there.
Oh yeah, we have a new video out. We just put it out this week.
Stew chicken and the provision.
Brown stew chicken and provision. Some nice renta yam and yellow yam and dumpling and banana. Listen to me, like I made it. No, Nino made
What's
that.
The ingredient in dumpling?
I don't know.
That's what I thought.
Listen,
you don't have a clue.
I don't eat dumplings, but I eat dumplings, but that's okay. But yeah, we have a new video out. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out. And we have over 600 and odd
655 to be exact.
There you go.
I looked at it today.
There's a lot of videos for you to watch, right?
And you got a lot of time, guys, and you want to do some binge watching. Go back way back to when we first started. Woo. And you can see the whole development and growth of Nino and Lo.
Look at that. Janice is saying, how about the Nilo crew? Nilo crew. The Nilo crew. I'm going to think on that. That might stick.
That sounds
The Nilo crew. What? The Nilo crew. Can you see it on a shirt? Crew. Nilo crew. So how about you guys all think about that for me? You pick your brain. I'll pick my brain. We'll meet back here next week. Same back channel. Same back time.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yes, and we'll vibe.
And everybody that's coming in this channel, please don't come back next week without a person.
Leave the people
Bring a body with you. Invite a body.
We appreciate all of you for being here.
We appreciate you. We appreciate it. We're just saying that, if you hear that there was a sale going on down in your local market, would you not tell your neighbor, there's a sale going on down in the local market? Share the love is all I'm saying. Share the love.
All right, people.
This is how we're going to build this.
Mint with Jenny is laughing. Don't mind him here, Miss Jenny. But we got to go because fun. I got to work tonight, guys. Right. I'm pulling a night shift tonight, so my day won't be done till 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm pulling
so pray for me. Too. Pray for me tonight.
I'm pulling a night shift with my pillow.
Yeah, it must be nice. Red's room saying, I saw that video. It was amazing. So he liked that. He liked your provisions and your
Red's room. Appreciate you.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Bluebird says, have a great rest of the day, everybody. And Red's room says, you guys are on the right track. Thank you so much.
Love you guys.
All right.
Big up.
Peace. Big up yourself, me and Low crew. I like it. Stick it on me. Bye, guys.
Hour and a half.